The number one rule for movie remakes: don't fuck with the original. Hey there guys, and welcome back to Dino Reviews. So today we are in day 30 of our 31 days of Halloween, and we are looking at Scream 4. So Scream 4 was a 2011 American slasher film directed by Wes Craven and once again written by Kevin Williamson. So one of the things, guys, I absolutely love about this movie is it has a reason to exist. With a lot of horror movies, they're generally just kind of coming out to cash in on the big killer. With this one, just like the other Scream movies, they actually have something to talk about. The movie tackles the remake craze of the early 2000s extremely well, and it also kind of explains how Hollywood had at that point kind of been running out of ideas and just kind of greenlighting anything that they could remake. What Scream has always done really well is kind of talk about different genres of horror movies, but also how the culture changes with every generation. We of course get the return of Sidney Prescott in this one, and she is pretty much a protector of this new generation of kids in the movie. What I like about her, she really is no longer in hiding in this movie. You know, she is out there, she is living her life, and she's not kind of this tragic character we had seen in the last few movies. She's completely changed in this one. She isn't scared of Ghostface in this movie. If anything, she's just sick of Ghostface constantly trying to kill her. And I like that about it. I also like Gayle and Dewey and their kind of return to the series as well. With Scream 3, honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of Gayle and Dewey. I thought they just kind of relied a bit too much on the comedic aspects of their characters. With Scream 4, we get a great balance that we got with the first two entries. So they are kind of back to doing what they do best. Gayle in particular, she kind of has that fire back in her. She has a bit more drive compared to what she had in Scream 3. With Scream 4, she is right in the driver's seat. She's back to kind of investigating what's happening in Woodsboro. Dewey is now also the sheriff of Woodsboro, and for me, I thought it was a great progression for the character. You know, he is still that kind of dim-witted character we all know and love, but now he has a title and kind of a role to play in Woodsboro, looking after the town. The new cast is also a big plus, so as the movie is kind of talking about remakes, they really did kind of need to make an attempt at having some sort of a resemblance to the original cast. So we have the role of Randy kind of getting split between two separate characters. We also have Sydney's niece Jill kind of taking over the role as the new Sydney, and we also have the suspicious boyfriend. So there is a lot of callbacks to the original movie, but the great thing is Scream 4 still feels like its own film. And what I like about this as well, of course, it's a new generation and they're actually surrounded by technology. So I thought it was a great twist for the movie just to kind of throw that in there. With the killer himself, the killer in this movie tends to kind of film a lot of the murders he commits, and I thought that was quite genius. Now what I will say, guys, I do think it was a little bit ahead of its time. I think when this got released, that wasn't really as big as it is today. We have TikTokers today, we have social media influencers, so I think that whole idea would have worked a little bit better with a movie today. I do just think some of the stuff they come up with, one in particular where they can have cameras on their heads, it didn't really work back then and actually doesn't work now. It's not a piece of technology that really caught on. So that's the one little thing I will say with the movie. With the technology aspect of it, they do definitely introduce some things that it kind of feels like that's what they think the kids are doing, when in reality nobody was doing it at that time. The kills in this one are also quite a lot bigger, they're bloodier, and they're definitely gorier. The kills in this are quite brutal. Different characters kind of meet their end in the most savage ways that we kind of hadn't seen too much of in previous Scream movies. With this one, you know, people are getting impaled with knives in their head. There's one character in particular who pretty much is the bloodbath inside a room as they get killed off by Ghostface. So it is definitely a bloodier one, it's a gorier one, but it's also the fourth entry in the series. Another positive is actually the opening of the movie. Now I've talked about this with Scream 1 and Scream 2, they have brilliant openings. With Scream 3, they kind of let the ball down. With Scream 4, they do kind of get back into that great opening. It's a bit of an iffy one for me. It comes across as a little bit too silly at times, but it's a great way of just poking fun at the genre. At the time the Scream 4 was released, we were getting a lot of Saw sequels, we were getting Hostel, so it was a lot of different stuff happening at the time, but it was also getting quite repetitive. And Scream 4 does open, and again just kind of pokes fun at that. They kind of poke fun at the idea of sequels constantly getting churned out for no reason. There is also a great balance between the original cast and the new cast. When the movie was coming out, you know, there was a lot of promotion that these new generation of characters would kind of continue on the franchise with Scream 4, Scream 5 and Scream 6. Now, as I said, the movie wasn't very successful, so we didn't get to see that, although it would have been interesting to see for sure. I am happy that a lot of it still revolves around Sidney Prescott. so you don't really see that coming too much in the movie, but it still is her story. Scream, in essence, it's always about Sidney Prescott, and there's no change here. They also touch on the idea of fame and kind of the extremes people will go to today to actually get famous. So Ghostface is out to become famous, and honestly the most laziest way possible, so they are just kind of trying to cash in on the fame of Sidney Prescott, Gayle Weathers and Dewey. They kind of just want to become the new cast. And you'll see that with a lot of things today with remakes, that's exactly what production companies were doing. They were essentially just taking a product that was very successful and trying to recreate that in the laziest way they could. As for the few negatives I have with the movie, I do think at times, guys, there's just a little bit too much comedy again in this one. With Scream 3, they went overboard with the comedy. With this one, they don't do that as much, but a few of the jokes just don't land. As well as that, they again try to be a little bit too meta. One thing that does kind of frustrate me with this movie is there's just too many characters that know about horror movies. What I like about the original Scream was not every single character knew the rules of horror. That's what Randy was there for, to explain that to the cast. With this one, everyone seems to be kind of a Scream fanatic or a stab fanatic, and it just gets a little bit weary. As well as that, there's a strange kind of tint or a strange filter on the movie throughout, and it does kind of take you out at times. I'm not sure what the decision was for that, but it just looks really off-putting when it's on screen. Now my last negative is simple. They killed off Kirby. They did this in Scream 2 with Randy, and it was a terrible decision, and for some reason they decided to repeat it again. I'm not sure why they did that. Kirby pretty much became a fan favourite in the movie, although people are still hoping she'll appear in Scream 5. But overall, guys, I had a blast with this movie. I love rewatching this one. I did really enjoy when it was originally released, and I also really enjoy it now. I think over time it's actually getting better with age. But guys, if you are a fan of Scream 4, make sure as always, guys, you let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Next up, guys, I am actually going to do a ranking of all 4 movies, so make sure, guys, you keep an eye out for that. If you do want me to do maybe a different series, a different movie series in particular, let me know, guys, what you want me to cover in the comments down below. As always, guys, remember you can pop on your notification bell. We do still have 2 more days before Halloween and October ends, so I will have a few more videos out before then. Remember as well, guys, if you like, you can subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.